How's it going, guys? I'm your coach to the Portland Trail Blazikens, which is going to be a team for the IBL in their fourth season. It's just a Discord server draft. There's a couple people who are now going to be doing YouTube, but besides that, it's really lesser known, obviously. Yeah, and so I'm just going to be providing a little bit of a draft analysis. I was the fourth pick. There was 16 teams, which is a rather large number. Obviously, some drafts have managed to do more teams, but that just gets really jumbled, I think. But either way, as fourth pick, I was coming in thinking pretty much just grab a really good mon that's on the table, which obviously at that point in time will be like a Mega Lottie, Tapu Koko, or Mega Mawile. Ironically, all four of those mons came to me, and so I knew before even coming into the draft which one I preferred, and that one was Mega Mawile. I've never used it, but it has 105 or 110 attack stat with huge power, giving it an enormous attack stat. Sure, it's slow, but great move coverages. It gets like Thunder Punch. Well, maybe it's, and then I think like Fire Fang. Either way, it has the Fangs and Punches. It has Iron Head. It has Play Rough, Sucker Punch. There are very few mons that can switch into a Mega Mawile, and especially if you properly predict what's coming in. It has 8 resistances, only weak to 2 types, Ground and Fire. So if I can cover some of those moving forward, we're going to get Mega Mawile a lot of shots to do some damage. And so then I had to wait until the pick got all the way down to 16. And it had to come all the way back down to me. But then at that point, I mentally like to pair my mons if I'm like that close to the wheel. So for example, this next pick and the following pick were kind of paired together, and therefore every pick following, if that makes sense. Either way, so a mon I picked like next might not make full sense until the one I picked then following time. But either way, I'll try to explain it. My second pick was Hydreigon. This one doesn't really need much explanation. Typing wise, it fits almost perfectly with Mega Mawile. Again, Mega Mawile is weak to ground and fire. Hydreigon resists fire and is immune to ground. Hydreigon is weak to fairy. It's weak to bug. It's weak to fighting. It's weak to ice. So sure, it has, and then dragon. There's a lot of weaknesses, but Mega Mawile checks every single one of those except fighting, where it's neutral. So they interact really well with each other. Hydreigon gets U-turn, so it gives me a chance to pivot into Mega Mawile. It gets Roost. It's naturally bulkier than Mega Latios. Attacks an attack stat that's higher than Mega Latias, so I kind of wanted that. Its move pool is enormous, and so I actually made this mon my Z user, or one of 3. In this draft, you got 3 Z users. One had to be less than tier 4 or less. And so I'll mention what mons are my Z users whenever they pop up. But Hydreigon I thought was a really good combo here. I wanted a special attacking dragon that didn't touch the ground pretty much to pair with Mawile, because a lot of the times they're going to come together in a battle. So now I hit on the offensive and especially offensive side. And so I think they pair really well together. And yeah, going into my third pick then, which this one's kind of a reach, but I grabbed Silvally round 3. The previous season, Silvally was in, I think it was in the second tier. It might have been tier 3 as well. But I've wanted to use Silvally time and time again. And anytime I do think to use it, it gets sniped from me. So I just went for it. Silvally is great. It gets Parting Shot. It does get U-turn in case you're going against a Defiant user. It gets Defog. It gets Wild Coverage. You get to change what type it is per battle. It has 95 speed. It's really a great mon that's just a wild card every single week. And that Parting Shot's super nice because, again, that can get me into Mega Mawile, plus lowering the Pokemon's defense or attack stats, so Mawile can eat a hit better, because Mawile does have decent bulk by default. It has like near the 100s in defense and special defense, I think even higher. And sure, 50 attack, but most of the time you're going to be running like very high HP. Sorry, 50 HP. But you're normally going to be running very high HP EVs. So I don't really think that's much of an issue. Besides its recovery, it can take some hits. And Silvally, lowering attack and special attack stats before going out into it. You can get Ice Beam. You can run it as a Steel type. So now I have a secondary Steel type. I can run it as a Psychic type to give me a bulky Psychic. I can run it as a Water, bulky Water. You get the deal. And I get infinite typings. It's not like I have to pick 3 or something of that nature. So I thought Silvally was really nice for the team. And again, you can run U-turn if you don't want to run Parting Shot. If you want to start chipping damage, maybe they have a Dark type that might switch in. You never know. And so that's kind of my mindset with Silvally. And looking at speed tiers so far, Mawil's is like non-existent. Silvally is, I guess Mawil's is nice in Trick Room. Silvally is 95, Hydreigon's 98, so they're pretty much like the same. So moving on to my 4th pick, which is kind of, again, my like second wheel that I think about, is Tapu Bulu. So Bulu was still hanging out at the end of round 4, and so I had to grab him. Sure, that's like another physical attacker, which Mawile and Bulu both are just going to be slapping things left and right physically. But grassy terrain is fantastic. It's going to be super nice because, like I said, Mawile is weak to 2 typings, and one of which is ground, meaning Bulu helps negate that. Not to mention residual recovery for Silvally, which doesn't get recovery, especially if you're running, changing its type. You have to run a memory or disc or whatever it is, so you can't run lefties, but terrain can help with that. Mawile, it's a mega. You're not running lefties, but it's naturally bulky, so terrain can help with that. Hydreigon, sure, doesn't really help out with, but say I roost on a turn with Hydreigon and I get a little extra terrain boost, that could be kind of nice. I know it's another fairy, but they don't really have many shared weaknesses. In fact, I don't think they have just fire. Yeah, and so I'm going to be patching up my fire later. I hope. I promise. Kind of. But either way, Bulu slaps so hard. So hard. And it's not even because of its fairy stab. Woodhammer in terrain, say you banned it, is double damage to like his 130 attack stat or whatever it is. It is wild how hard Bulu can hit. And coupling that with Mawile, like I don't know how many teams can have an answer to both, like combined in one. I'm just really looking to chip down teams with Bulu and Mawile if the opportunity presents itself, which I'm really hoping it does. Either way, it just gives me 2 very good options of wall breakers. Mega Mawile can run Sword Stance, Tapu Bulu can run Sword Stance. So technically they can both sweep a game. You never know. But either way, that is some major damage dealing, plus the terrain couples very well with Mega Mawile. So I'm excited to see what happens. And so then the next pick I grabbed was actually a Zelf. I saw this in Tier 3. I think usually it's a Tier 2 mon. At least in my opinion, it's a Tier 2 mon. So I really quickly snagged that one as soon as I saw it because I didn't want someone else grabbing it. We get another Levitate mon, so we have another ground immunity. I still haven't covered my fire type weakness, so bear with me on that. But a Zelf, base 115 speed. That's a very nice speed tier to reach. You get like 125 special attack and physical attack, I believe. Sure, it's frail, but we get U-turn. We get another rock setter, because Mawile, I don't want to be my rock setter. That would be a little ridiculous to have that always being a rock setter. Maybe I'll tech it once. Maybe I'll go bulky Mawile once. You never know what I'm going to do. But a Zelf, just being another option, is nice. We get Taunt. We get Explosion. I actually make this my Z user. It gets Nasty Plot, so I can break holes if I want late game. A Zelf can be a nice sweeper. It can be a nice pivot. It can be a suicide lead if you want. It has a lot of options, and I'm really excited to use it. It gets knockoff. And Hydreigon, who, since it's a special dark type, yeah, exactly running dark. I don't even know if it gets knockoff, actually. But either way, we have a knockoff user. I always like having one. And so to have a Zelf packing knockoff might prevent me from being worried about like a P2 or a Tangela, I guess. Just, you know, those, or Chansey, clearly like one of the best Eviolite users. So it just gives me options. Moving on to my 5th pick, I grabbed Nidoking. So I don't think this needs much explanation. Nidoqueen was in Tier 2, and Nidoking was in Tier 3. And that's why I went King over Queen. I think Queen would have worked better because of the defense, but Nidoking is super nice to have here. Tapu Bulu's terrain only affects, for the most part, physical ground type moves. It doesn't count like Thousand Arrows and I think like Bulldoze or something, but either way, it doesn't affect Earth Power. It doesn't affect Hidden Power Ground either, but I wanted Nidoking because now Nidoking doesn't have that ground weakness, and Earth Power still does normal damage. We get the Poison Resist, which is going to be nice. Nidoking can hit physically and specially, and it can absolutely wreck a team that's not prepped. Nidoking can do so much with its coverage. It has Bolt Beam, it has Flamethrower. It just can. It's so good. It's got 86 speed, so it's on the slower end, but that is starting to build my speed tiers with Tapu Bulu at 77, Nidoking's is 85. And then we have Silvally at 95, Hydreigon at 98, Azelf at 115. We have a little gap there between 98 and 115, but backing the way down until 77 is pretty nice. The following pick, we also have he's also a Rock Setter and a Toxic Spike Setter, so that gives me another option, which I was really hoping for. We grab Slowbro next. We finally get the Fire Resistance. There we go. Slowbro is an absolutely bulky boy. 110 defense stat, 80 special defense stat. I think like 90 or 85 or 95 HP, so it's thick. It gets Regenerator. It's got Water and Psychic typing. So now I have an offensive and a defensive Psychic type. Defensive Waters, so good. Defensive Psychics, so good. Comboing it together, decent, I guess. I would argue that I'd prefer a bulky Water and a bulky Psychic, but on a team like this, I don't really want to be using the move slots to have both, if I'm honest. This is very much more oriented toward a hyper offense, but it can definitely switch out for a bulky offense. So, we'll see what happens. Slowbro, we get Scald, we get Future Sight, we get Trick Room. A lot of versatility. We got Ice Beam. He can Calm Mind. I think he can Nasty Plot, but he can definitely Calm Mind. Again, Regenerator is super nice. It gets Slack Off. This thing is hard to take down without status if you play it well. And I have Nidoking to switch into Toxics, and I have Mega Mawile to switch into Toxics, and I'm going to be trying to fill out mons that can switch into Will-O-Wisps a little bit more, and there's one very specifically that I got. Just for those chips. I want to keep Slowbro clean from the status, so we'll see what happens there, but I'm definitely expecting this guy to be tough to take down. I love Slowbro. So, my 8th pick is Komala, Tier 4. This thing checks a lot of boxes that I was looking for. Besides, I think Bulu and Slowbro up to this point, like everything can pivot into Mega Mawile. And in fact, Dry Baton Pass is legal, so Mega Mawile can also pivot. Hydreigon can U-turn, Silvally can U-turn and Party can Shot, Azelf can U-turn, Komala can U-turn, Mega Mawile can Baton Pass, Nidoking can't, Slowbro can, Tapu Bulu can. So those three can't. Komala can U-turn. It can Rapid Spin, so now Silvally doesn't always have to run Defog, and Hydreigon a lot less often will need to run Defog, even though both of those are very, especially Silvally, a common set. Hydreigon can. I can run and support Hydreigon if I want to, or if I need to, so it's nice to have the options. But to have a good Rapid Spinner in Komala, coupled with a Wish Passer, I could run Wish, Protect, U-turn, Rapid Spin, and then we just get up a Wish, U-turn out into whatever I want. Or, it's got Comatose, so I can switch into Will-O-Wisps, I can switch into Toxics. I can do Fake Out, or not Fake Out, I can do Sleep Talk Last Resort, because he's already asleep, Choice Band that sucker, and you are putting punches down onto teams. It's fantastic. I think it gets Earthquake even. Komala's a really versatile mon, and just to have the option of a Wish Passer with U-turn just keeps my pivot alive, which is really what I'm focusing on doing with this team, but it also has a decent attack stat, so it's not useless when it switches in. I don't want it to be a passive Wish Passer just for the sake of this team. It wouldn't feel... I'd feel like I'd get stagnant if I were to ever switch into, for example, a Licky, even though LAKEY is an amazing wish passer, and it's super bulky. It's just a little too passive for a team of this style. Following up, I get Conkeldurr. So I had the points to get. Oh, and Slowbro was tier 3. I still had points to get a tier 2 and a tier 5 at this point, and I was just frantically looking for a tier 2 that I would like. There was Circuitry, there was Raikou. I was looking at 2 electric types because I don't have one yet, clearly. But I finally settled on Conkeldurr because Bulu, generally speaking, Hydreigon, Mega Mawile, even Slowbro, but he's going to be more defensive. They generally don't like steel types. Conkeldurr eats steel types alive. We've got a Gutsmon, so we have another Willow and Toxic Eater next to a Komala. You can run Sheer Force Life Orb and blow things back with the boosts. It's such a good time to Poison Jab a Fairy coming in when they think that you can't touch it, or dueling like 40 with a Poison Jab. It's incredible. You can run AV, you can run Iron Fist. Conkeldurr is such a good mon, coupled with the fact that I at least can set a Trick Room with Slowbro, and then having Mega Mawile might force prep of being concerned about that, because I can and might end up doing it. So you never know. Conkeldurr is one of my favorite. It's probably my favorite fighting type mon in Draft League. I wouldn't say it's underrated because it used to be so highly regarded until like Fairies came, and then like the Coco or the Tapus came and just put this poor guy into tier 2. So I had to scoop it up. I'm so happy to have it, especially when I got so late. It's such a good mon. You see it undrafted all the time, which is really sad to see because, again, I'm a big fan of Conkeldurr. Yeah, moving on. I grabbed Minior, so it's a tier 4, and I wouldn't say that's like abnormally placed because it is niche. It's pretty frail, but it gets Shell Smash. And Minior, it can put in a lot of work. It has base 60 attack and special attack in its Meteor form, but after it gets, and it can't get Willowed in it. It can't get Toxic. I don't even know if it can get Taunted. It can probably get Taunted, but then if it gets below half, which like say you Shell Smash, like most hits are probably gonna get you below half if you plan it correctly. Even though it does have base 100 defenses when it's in I think it's Meteor form. Maybe it's Core form. Maybe this is Meteor form. I don't remember. Either way. But then once it switches forms, now it has 100 attack and special attack and 120 speed. So that plus Shell Smash, nothing's outspeeding you. Just nothing. Not even Hawlucha. It's great. If you run, you can run the Herb and go Acrobatics. You can run a Z move, which I put my tier 4 and lower Z on Minior because this thing can use Z, like Rocky Z on Stone Edge is super good. You can do ground, but I'll probably see Rocky Z. Then you wouldn't use Acrobatics, obviously. Technically, it's a U-turn user. I could maybe play Cheeky and get it to like below half, and now I just have like a 100 attack with 120 speed mon, so that cranks up my speed tier technically, but I don't really count that. Yeah, I just think that there'll be a couple teams that I might be able to click Shell Smash and sweep. So, especially with Mawile, Tapu Bulu, to an extent Conkeldurr and Hydreigon being threats that they need to at least consider. Minior might sneak up on a couple people, and here's to hoping, really. So I have 2 picks left. Next one's Manectric. I get it because of its speed tier mostly, but it also has Volt Absorb? Yeah, not Mojo Drive. It has Volt Absorb. So, it's a 105 speed tier, so that fits it nicely between 98 and 115. Kind of, because I think like a 115 Mon might have just been like, oh, I don't care about Azelf, I'll run Modest or Adamant and still outspeed Hydreigon. Now I at least force that mindset, so they have to choose. 105 speed's nice. It has a decent special attack of like 100, but it gets Volt Switch, so I'm pivoting again. Again, it's an electric immunity. I have plenty of ground immunities, and I now have an electric immunity. or a second one rather. Nice speed. It gets flamethrowers, so like those Ferrothorns of the world don't love it. And then you get to guarantee run HP Ice, really, or HP Grass. I think those would be generally the only two that I'll need. But it's nice to have those options because Flamethrower can take out. It just saves you from using HP Fire for like a Scizor or a Ferrothorn. So I'm really excited about that. It was tier 5, so really any mon that has a remote use is nice to grab. And then finally the last mon is lovely. It really is. There's not much else to say about it. I got Wishy-Washy. There wasn't much more that I thought I needed on this team. Sure, I could have went with another Rock Setter. Maybe a better Fire Resist than Wishy-Washy. Because, granted, I do have Minior technically. And then I have Slowbro. Definitely. And then I would have Silvally that I can tech to be resistant to fire. But besides that, I don't really have any. So it could have been smart to go with like a fire type with Flash Fire or something. And who knows, that might be one of my first free agent transactions if needed. But it's a tier 5. I'm not going to be bringing it to that many games, I was assuming. And so getting a Wishy-Washy, which is almost like, if it's in the schooling form, it has nasty attack stats. It also has very good defense. It's just that it has a small HP stat. And so if I run max HP because it's slow as dirt and then Tapu Bulu to help get it regenning, like it might stay in schooling form for like a majority of the battle because keeping it above 25% isn't that hard. 25% is pretty low. It's not like it's 50%. If it was 50, this would be completely like an idiotic move. But I believe that Wishy-Washy could do something. I really do. It gets U-turn. So I have another pivot mon. Great. It gets Hydro Pump, Surf, Ice Beam, Earthquake, U-turn. I think it gets like maybe a rock type stab. Who knows? It's a dangerous mon. I mean, I'm obviously never going to have it in the Trick Room because I don't think a Zelf learns. Maybe a Zelf learns. If a Zelf learns Trick Room, then I can. But I'm never going to have Mawile or Wishy-Washy plus Slowbro. But either way, I just kind of wanted to have a little fun with my last pick. Wishy-Washy might do something. It might never come. Who knows? I'm really hoping it does, and I really hope it puts in work. But yeah, I really do enjoy this team. There's clear weak points to it. Like, I don't think I have that much of a fire resist, especially since I'm running Bulu. Bulu and Mega Mawile. But I think that might be my only two fire weaknesses anyway, and then Hydreigon can resist it. I can make a Silvally resist it. I technically have Minior, but that's non-existent. But then I have Slowbro, and I do have Wishy-Washy as well. But all in all, I think it's a decent team. Lot of pivoting. Wishy-Washy can pivot. Mawile can, but won't. Manectric can. Minior can, but won't. Kamala can. Azelf can. Silvally can. Hydreigon can. Tapu Bulu can. So half my team can get pivots into mons that can do a lot of damage. I'm hoping to break with Mawile, Tapu Bulu, to an extent Hydreigon. I've got sweepers and a Zelf and Minior. King Caldera can clean. It's got Mach Punch. Mega Mawile has Sucker Punch. Really, I check a lot of boxes here. I don't have a Spikes setter. I only have Toxic Spikes and 3 Stealth Rocks. And my Stealth Rock setters are admittedly pretty bad. Like, generally you're not going to want to run a Suicide Lead as Elf. Even though it is a good set, but in Draft League, just like sacking off one mon kind of hurts, unless you're going like 1 for 1. Mega Mawile, if I run rocks more than twice, like I shouldn't use Mega Mawile ever again. That'd be kind of a waste. Actually, Minior might get rocks, but it's the same thing. I'll never run rocks on Minior. And then finally, Nidoking can, but that's kind of what I would have preferred Nidoqueen, just for the extra bulk. You get to run Black Sludge more common and not get weird looks at you. But I liked the speed tier a lot of Nidoking being in those 80s. Because, yeah, with that, technically Minior is 120. We're going to forget about that. But then we have 115 in his Elf, 105 in Manectric, 98 in Hydreigon, 95 in Silvally, 85 in Nidoking, 77 in Tapu Bulu, and I think Komala is 70. So I really hit those speed tiers well between 110, like 115, but like I like to beat 110, I like to beat 100, 9, 80, 70. So I hit all those, and I'm really excited to see what this team can do. But yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed. Hope you're excited to see maybe what Wishy-Washy can do. Besides that, I hope you guys enjoyed the video, and let me know what you think. Alright? I think that's it. Have a great day. See you guys later.